Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm the creator of the CLI Data Gem SurfGuru. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to use SurfGuru. SurfGuru helps you catch your next wave by providing a listing of the current surfing conditions at popular surf beaches around the globe. SurfGuru lists each beach and its current surf stats by location, narrowing down by continent and country of choice. For greater detail about a beach, you can select it from a listing to retrieve information including current water and air temperatures, current swell conditions, and current wind conditions. You can also retrieve information about the ideal conditions at any particular beach for comparison. I decided to build this CLI Data Gem app because I really love to be active outside, I love surfing, and I love water sports in general. SurfGuru scrapes information from surfline.com. As you can see on this website, you can navigate to cams and reports and all surf spots. Once you're here, you can start refining your search, starting with the continents and then narrowing down to individual countries, regions, and beaches. SurfGuru will lead the user through a similar flow. This is the GitHub repository for SurfGuru, and while this is technically a gem, it has not yet been published to rubygems.org because we're awaiting permission from surfline.com in order to publish their content. In the meantime, please feel free to clone the repository and run the executable file just like you normally would. To illustrate, I'm going to go ahead and walk through this process with you. So here I'm going to clone the repository. And then I'm going to go into that directory. And now that I'm in the directory, I'm going to rake install. This is loading the gem, now it's installed, and now I'm going to run it. So when the program begins, it will go ahead and welcome the user. Welcome to SurfGuru, your guide for surfing the world. And then it will allow you to select a content. You'll enter the number or you can exit the program. So let's say I want to travel to Asia, so I'll put in 2. Nice choice, there are lots of great surf spots in Asia. And then at this point it will prompt me to select which country in Asia I'm interested in traveling to for surfing. I can enter the number of the country, I can go back, or I can exit. So let's say that I want to go to the Philippines, 11. Here's a list of some amazing surf spots in the Philippines with their current swell conditions. So from this point I'll be able to select a beach from the listing below for more detailed information about that particular beach. I can enter a number, I can go back, or I can exit. So let's say I look at these conditions and other than the first 2, they look pretty flat. Maybe I should try traveling someplace else. So I'm going to go back. It'll allow me to go back to the continent listing here. Let's say instead I decide I want to travel to Europe. Nice choice, there are lots of great surf spots in Europe. And from here I can select a country. I'll say Italy. I always loved vacationing in Italy. It's looking pretty flat, but you know, for a beginner surfer, 1 to 2 feet, 2 to 3 feet is okay. This is looking a little more like it. So let's try Silver Rock, the first one, number 1. Alright, so at this point it will print out an additional information for me about this particular beach, including the swell directions, what the swell is and the direction of the swell, the wind speed and the direction of the wind, surf height. The tide is not available for this spot, water conditions, outside temperature conditions, and then if they're listed, ideal conditions for this beach will be listed. In this particular case, they're not available for this spot. And then if I wanted more information, I can go directly to this URL to visit the Surfline page and find more information about this beach. So if I wanted to surf again, I could say yes. It'd say gnarly, let's go again, and it'll allow me to go ahead and select a continent again. If I decide to say no, it would just let me exit, and at this point I'll just exit. There we go. So that's how the SurfGuru program works. Now let's take a look into some of the code. So here we are back on the GitHub page. And while I won't go through every line of code, I do want to show you in general what each file is accomplishing. If you'd like more detailed information, please check out my blog post detailing the creation of the app. The post also outlines some of the challenges I had while writing the app and why I chose to code it like I did. This is the CLI file. This file will walk through the steps that the app takes to interact with the user, and it signals what information should be selected as well as how it will be displayed to the user. As you can see, this file welcomes the user, lists the continents, asks and intakes user feedback, and then sends that information to the scraper. The scraper will then scrape information from the website, create the countries as objects, and send that information back to the CLI file. Then it does the same cycle for listing and selecting the countries and the beaches. And lastly, it has code that will allow the user to get all the detailed information about beaches and to decide if they want to surf again. The scraper file scrapes information from the Surfline website, parses the information it collects into an array of hashes for each continent, country, and beach, all of which are separate classes. One challenge that I had with some of the code in the scraper method is that because the Surfline website is so modern, a lot of the details in the code, a lot of the attributes were not scrapable individually, which meant that they came in a very long string and had to be parsed out separately. And that kind of explains, in particular, some of the additional code here. In other instances, I was able to scrape that individual content directly, like here for the beaches, and for each beach I was able to iterate through and collect specifically the name, surf height, and URL fairly easily. For each of the continent, country, and beach files, we have fairly similar code. In each we have relevant attribute accessors, we have an initialize method, and then we have class methods for collecting all objects and clearing all objects. For the beach class, we also have a method to add additional details outside of what came with the object when it was initialized. Any values that come into the initialize method that have nil values will not be added as objects to the beach and country classes. This ended up being an essential, a pretty simple thing to code, but also incredibly essential, because if the country or beach came in without a scrapable name or URL, the program would pretty much break because it wasn't able to get any additional information about that particular object. Other files to check out are the environment files in the config folder. This loads all of the dependencies that are required for the program to run. And the bin files show the general, there's a console you can use, the general setup for the gem and how to install it. And then here, this is what kicks off the program in the bin SurfGuru file. If you have any questions about how I wrote my code, I would suggest heading over to my website to read my blog post that details my approach for building this app. Lastly, you can find my GitHub repo if you search for Emily Welsh on github.com. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed listening and watching this video walkthrough. And if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch through my contact page on my website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, cheers.